Nikki and Victoria sit on the patio at Crimson Lights and make small talk about the kids until talk inevitably turns to the loss of Cole. Victoria wants to focus on the positive things in life. She wants to be excited about Victor backing off of Claire and Kyle, but she doesn't really trust it. They debate whether Victor's playing a long game with Kyle. Nikki can't see him trusting Kyle given his feelings toward Jack. Victoria's afraid Kyle will never be safe from her dad's anger. They agree his loathing for Jack's not going anywhere. Victoria admits she's still worried about Claire in the wake of Cole's death. Nikki thinks that if Claire had something bigger to focus on, it might help her heal. A promotion is in order. Victoria's thrilled and tells her mother that Claire should be there soon. She's sure she's with Kyle, and their relationship is thriving without Victor's interference. Jack spots Victor at society and stops by his table to trade insults. The abbot crabs about him, going after Kyle and Claire, even though his beef is with him. Victor says he's seen to it that his granddaughter is happy. If there are troubles in Jack's family, that's on him. Jack tells Victor he knows about his contract with Kyle. Victor snarks that he made a hell of an offer. Jack fumes that if Audra had succeeded in breaking Claire's heart, Kyle would have been run out of town. "You backed him into a corner!" Victor put him to the test. By signing the contract, Kyle showed more guts that Jack has in his entire lifetime. Jack and Victor continue sparring verbally until the abbot warns the mustache if he pulls anything else with Kyle, he'll answer to him. Victor says he's no longer interfering. Jack doesn't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. He's likely planning his next move. Victor doesn't give a damn what he thinks. Jack challenges him to prove himself by tearing up the contract he made Kyle sign. They argue over Jack's claim that his family has always supported and loved the Newmans, and then the Black Knight hollers that he'll never forget Jack nearly killing his wife in that hotel room and storms out. As Victor leaves, Diane appears. Outside, Victor angrily texts Kane to see if he's made a decision about teaming up with him against Jabot. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle's stunned to hear that Claire went to Nate and told him about Audra's deal with Victor. Claire adds that Audra doubled down on her lies. Kyle's not worried because he and Claire are a team. Claire seems unconvinced about that and asks if there's anything he hasn't told her about his time in Nice with Audra. As Claire pushes for details, Kyle shakes his head and wishes he'd never met Audra. He tries convincing his girlfriend to move on, but she's unwilling. Kyle flashes to his parents, warning him about his lie of omission. He blurts, "We kissed in Nice." Claire grills Kyle and asks where he and Audra were when they kissed. "See, he admits, "in my sleeping car." He insists he felt disgusted the entire time. He was just trying to trap her. Claire thinks it sounds like there was more to it. Kyle says there was, but he had to bust Audra. Claire accuses him of lying to her. Kyle couldn't figure out a way to tell her. Claire questions, if his actions were as innocent as he claims, what possible reason did he have for keeping this from her? Kyle says he didn't tell her sooner because he was ashamed. Claire wants the details, but also doubts that will make her feel any better. She rants about the Audra's insinuations. Kyle didn't want to burden Claire after the loss of her father. Claire screams, "Audra has been more honest with me than you have!" Kyle understands now that he should have told her everything. She glares, "You only told me because I forced you to." Would he just have continued to lie to her otherwise? Kyle protests that he didn't want to upset her after Cole dying. Claire informs him that he's given her a reason not to trust him. She doesn't know how to handle this. Kyle vows that everything he did was to eliminate the threat Audra posed. Claire's not sure he didn't make things worse. Claire's not about making him feel better right now and walks out. At society, Jack rants to Diane about his run-in with Victor. They go over the contract he has with Kyle and whether their son is safe. Jack intones, "Victor is Victor." Diane wishes there was a surefire way to get him to stop. He tried to banish and financially destroy their son. Maybe it's time for a little counterattack. Maybe Victor needs a taste of his own medicine, Jack decides. This concerns Diane, who reminds him about the threat posed by Kane. Jack thinks he's all bark and no bite. He rants some more about the contract Kyle signed. Victor remains a threat. Diane argues that Kyle beat Victor, Jack says. For now. He wants Victor to pay. Just then, Kyle comes in with a long face and says he admitted to Claire that he kissed Audra in Nice. The whole thing blew up in his face. Jack urges him to give her time and then he can apologize. Kyle thinks it will take a lot more than that. He complains that Audra has finally gotten to Claire. Diane points out he did kiss her in France. Kyle has to find a way to prove his love and declares, "I'm going to ask Claire to marry me." At Crimson Lights, Claire joins Nikki and Victoria, who tells her daughter there's exciting news. Claire drops the bomb that Kyle confessed to kissing Audra in his sleeping car in Nice. He willingly kissed her and then failed to mention it despite her giving him multiple chances. When someone lies to her, it's really triggering. Nikki's shocked, but believes Kyle loves her. Claire's not sure how to fix it. Nikki, who knows how messy relationships can be, counsels her to give herself some time. After Nikki's gone, Victoria tells Claire to do nothing right now. She should ask herself if she cares enough about Kyle to give him the benefit of the doubt in this situation. Claire can't stand secrets or deception because of Jordan. She needs to calm down before making a decision and can't forgive him right now. Nikki arrives at the ranch, where Victor's pouring a drink. She questions if there's actually peace between him and Kyle. Victor confirms there is. Nikki asks if this was really a test, or if he suspected from the beginning that Kyle would break Claire's heart. The mustache admits he did think Kyle would break her heart, but he's changed his mind because he withstood the temptation of Audra and stood up to him, which he respects. Nikki thinks her husband's dislike of Kyle had more to do with Jack. Victor admits he'll always despise the abbot. Nikki fumes that this feud has to end. Stubborn as ever, Victor declares the war will never come to an end. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Friday, August 29th, 2025, reveal Nikki making a significant change at Chancellor Industries, Amanda returning home to a new assignment, and Billy informing Jack about Kane's latest plan. Nikki came this close to handing Chancellor Industries over to Kane and Amanda over in Nice when she wanted to save Nick. It was an emotional decision, of course, but it didn't make the best sense business-wise. On Friday's episode, watch for Nikki to implement a change at Chancellor Industries. Will this change prevent such a catastrophic shift in the company that almost happened in France from happening again? Nikki would be wise to make sure that Catherine's company is safe. Kane may be pulling back in his plans to expand his empire, but Billy still wants to get the company back under his control. Amanda has been curiously absent in recent weeks. She played a key role in Kane's reveal in Nice, but we haven't seen her since. Phyllis has dropped her name here and there, but we've been wondering where Kane's savvy attorney has been. On Friday's show, watch for Amanda to show up as she takes on a new assignment. Now that Kane has changed some of his plans to take over businesses in Genoa City, Amanda might have to get on board with whatever Kane's next move is. Billy had a chat with Kane about his changing plans for Genoa City. Does this mean Kane isn't going to change his mind again and go after some big companies in Genoa City? On Friday's show, watch for Billy to share with Jack what he knows about Kane changing his plan. Like the Newmans, the Abbotts know that a united front can help conquer any enemy. Victor may want to ally himself with Kane to take down the Abbotts, but even their combined might may not be able to do that if Jack, Billy, and the rest of the family stick together. There was a time when the Young and the Restless had us thinking that Nick and Phyllis might be headed for a rematch. Nobody calls each other Hot Mom and Hot Dad as much as they did if they aren't still hot for each other. But since Phyllis went all in with Kane and his on today, off tomorrow plot to take over Genoa City, all bets are off. Could the former marrieds wind up going from love to war? By and large, as we all know, Nick is protective of his ex. Most of the trouble she winds up in, she creates for herself. But that doesn't mean that he isn't ready, willing, and able to help her get back out of it. Unless, that is, the trouble she gets in is a result of her efforts to kneecap his filthy rich relatives. How far is Nick willing to go to protect the family? Joshua Morrow muses to Soap Opera Digest. If Phyllis proves to be a full-blown enemy, it's going to be very dicey for him. If Phyllis were to really attack her former in-laws, we can't say that she wouldn't have good reason. Not after Victor cavalierly put an imposter Jack in her bed for months. But such a move on Phyllis's part would require a counter-move on Nick's. He's hardwired to protect Daddy and the family, but how, Morrow ponders, can he do that while also not hurting this woman he still cares deeply about? Welcome to The Young and the Restless, Daily YAPP, for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing, or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. On The Young and the Restless, the great Victor Newman is a force to be reckoned with. So much so that just hearing that you're up against him in some way should have you shaking in your boots and backing down from whatever fight you're in. Unless you're Billy, Phyllis, Diane, Jack, Kyle, Nate, Claire, or Kane, that is. But while they've been realizing that Victor's not the threat he claims to be, the mustache has been showing us that he's as capable of human error as any other person he criticizes for their business acumen, or lack thereof. Sure, anyone, even Victor, can let their contempt for someone cloud their judgment, but Victor's been taking things a step further. He visited Kane on his exact replica toy train and blackmailed him. Kane even asked if he was committing extortion, and Victor admitted he was. But Victor also knew that Kane had an extensive CCTV system throughout his train in France, and he'd replicated every detail on the North American train. Why commit and admit to a crime on another one? Then, he left the letter he was using as blackmail with Kane. Sure, he probably had photocopies, but they'd hardly be as usable without a libel suit if he didn't have the original. And today, Victor text messaged Kane to see if he was going to follow through with his specific blackmail demands. 3 strikes, you're out, Vic. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full Y&R recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that fans may see a GC banishment, some date night drama, and a new mystery. Y&R has some exciting story developments ahead, so let's discuss some upcoming twists and turns. For starters, the contract Kyle Abbott signed is definitely going to come back into play. Jack Abbott urged Victor Newman to tear it up in the August 28th episode, but Victor naturally refused. That's because Victor knows he's sitting on the power to take $5 million from Kyle and drive him out of Genoa City if he breaks Claire Newman's heart. Victor is smart to hold on to that contract under the circumstances, and will soon be glad he did. There's surely more Claire devastation to come, so Victor may retaliate against Kyle. This could eventually lead to Kyle's GC banishment and deliver quite the financial blow too. There'll surely be some strategy to keep Kyle on the show in the end, but things may look bleak for a bit. Victor may order Kyle to leave town like he promised, but maybe Jack could come through with a solution, or Claire could intervene despite her heartache. Kane Ashby is desperate for another chance with Lily Winters, who was visibly moved while watching his heartfelt video. Are we seeing the first signs of Lily's walls coming down? Kane hurt Lily deeply, but part of her will always love him. At some point, will Lily listen to that part of herself and at least agree to one date with Kane? Lily may not be ready for a full-blown reunion, but Kane could at least convince her to have a date with him and see where that might lead. However, there's the potential for this special night to end in disaster. Lily will remain scared of her feelings and has trust issues that aren't going away anytime soon. Kane could say or do the wrong thing and blow this if he's not careful, so any date that might be coming up could bring some drama. Tamara Braun will be making her debut as a character named Sienna Bacall this fall, but most of the details are being kept under wraps. Who exactly is this mysterious Sienna, and why will she make her way to Genoa City? Sienna will have some personal connections around town, so it'll be interesting to see who she knows and what kind of agenda she'll bring with her. Braun excels at delivering dangerous, bad girl vibes, so maybe Sienna could be trouble. Are the men purposely shutting women out from success? Are the men the reason why the women keep failing? First Audra, now Phyllis. The young and the restless audience is tired of the men's club, which consists of Victor, Jack, Billy, and now Kane. Some have argued that these men are calling the shots and shutting women out of success. There are very few successful women in Genoa City. Audra lost Vibrante while Phyllis is floundering around, hoping to get a billion-dollar business. Are women destined to fail? The original poster on a soap opera message board joked that Audra and Phyllis should join a support group. One person responded, "Phyllis and Audra could do stand-up together." However, another fan had a different idea. They believe the men's club is running the show, which is preventing women from striking out on their own. Genoa City is a man's world. They will never let women win unless it's one of the men on the show doing the honors as a gift. Phyllis and Audra are both capable and shouldn't be utilized as a prop for the continued elevation of Victor. This poster made a good point. The only time a woman is successful is when she's involved and working with her partner. You see that with Nikki and Victor, and with Billy and Sally. Like Sally, Chelsea worked at Marchetti before. It didn't take long for Adam to snatch her up and have her work at Newman Media. These women are brilliant and talented. Meanwhile, the men can launch a business on their own as they duel one another. However, Lily is one of the few successful women who found her footing in a male-dominated world. However, other fans argued that Phyllis and Audra are their own worst enemies. They get so obsessed with power and success that they sabotage their efforts. One person wrote, "They are schemers and losers, who love to toot their horn, but fail at everything they do." The original fan, who commented about the men's club, wrote, "I think they're both top-tier schemers and businesswomen. Losers. I can see that, but I'm a fan, so I don't agree, lol." They returned to their point about Genoa City being a man's world, in which the women are gifted the power or success by another man. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for the week of September 1st, suggest some twists and curveballs. Fans can expect Kane Ashby to continue making bold moves. Meanwhile, Phyllis Summers faces a crisis. Also, the Abbott Communications launch party is doomed to be a disaster. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Let's begin with Sally Spectra and the launch party for Abbott Communications. It's retro-themed, which sounds like fun. However, all signs point to this party being a disaster. Sally has hired Audra Charles at Abbott Communications. Billy Abbott wasn't thrilled with the idea. However, Billy also trusts Sally and is letting her take the lead on this. Audra will definitely be at his party, but so will a lot of people in Genoa City. That means both Kyle Abbott and Claire Grace Newman could attend together. Leave it up to Audra to let her emotions and rage get out of control during the party. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for next week, reveal that Phyllis will face a crisis. This might have to do with Kane Ashby's recent business decisions. Billy warned Kane that he has no idea what he's unleashing regarding Phyllis. Plus, Daniel Romalotti Jr. overheard Phyllis leaving another frantic message for Kane. With Daniel recently connecting with Holden Novak, it seems that there could be more twists and complications coming. With Amanda Sinclair back in GC, I wonder what her new assignment from Kane will be. Amanda could be told to keep an eye on Phyllis. Meanwhile, Phyllis could play some of her own games with the lawyer. Even though Kane claimed he was shelving his original idea, Billy and Sally are both suspicious. It's only a matter of time before the whole truth comes out. With Victor Newman blackmailing Kane, I wonder what the future holds. It certainly seems that Kane's video message struck a chord with Lily Winters. So stay tuned. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of September 1st, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Kane Ashby shut down Phyllis Summers' belief that they were partners. She believed that they were working together and were equals. He made it crystal clear that they aren't equals. She is nothing but an employee, a means to an end. Phyllis was not pleased to hear that little tidbit. She couldn't believe that Kane would demean her contribution in that manner. She thought they would work side by side to take Genoa City by storm. The issue is that Kane has made a secret deal with Victor Newman. When Phyllis learns of this deal, she might flip from working with Kane to plotting against him. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Victor made Kane an offer he couldn't refuse. Instead of going after Chancellor Industries, he should go after Jabot instead. Not only did Victor suggest that Kane go after Jabot, but he also offered to help him with his resources to make it happen. This deal was too good to pass up. Kane knew a Jabot takeover was iffy, but with Victor's help, it would be much easier. Not only that, Victor will help finance the deal, which would be a huge help. All this is all good and well, but Phyllis doesn't know anything about it. She believes they are still going after Chancellor Industries. She has no clue his primary focus has changed from Chancellor to Jabot. With her connection to the Abbotts, she might feel bad about going after Jabot. She probably would do it anyway, but her guilt would creep in. Lily Winters told Kane that he must end this corporate war. If he doesn't, he could lose the twins forever. It's not something he is willing to gamble. He loves his children and longs for them to accept him again. Then there's the Lily issue. He returned to Genoa City to win her back. If he continues to plot against the corporations, he could lose any chance he has with her. She made it clear to him, if he stopped the corporate wars, she would make sure the twins were good with him and she would talk to him. If not, he will be cut off from the whole family. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kane's decision will rattle Phyllis, forcing her to launch an all-out war against the billionaire. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Kyle Abbott couldn't let it go. He's still angry about what happened between him and Audra Charles when they worked for Victor Newman at Glissade. But rather than ignore Audra, as Claire Newman hoped he would, Kyle went to Kane Ashby's estate in France earlier this summer with the intention of trapping Audra. She held the same recklessly stubborn attitude, believing a trap could be set. Both characters find themselves having disturbed their claimed loved ones, Claire and Nate Hastings, which puts those relationships at risk of being lost. Similar to Kane, Kyle's life will remain unstable until he's willing to admit that his approach was wrong, and then try to make amends if that's possible by those points in the plot. Kyle had no reason to engage with Audra earlier this year, but he wanted to pay her back for the Glissade debacle. Rather than focusing on Claire and realizing that fighting with Audra would lead him in a needlessly foolish direction, he dug in. Simultaneously, Audra did the same. However, Audra's reasons for paying Kyle back remained buried in her true feelings. As Nate is coming to realize, she still feels strongly for Kyle. That puts Nate in second position with someone he now believes is also untrustworthy. Audra should be thankful that Nate put up with her edgy personality. She isn't the only woman in Genoa City, Wisconsin, who finds Nate attractive. He committed to Audra during a period when she only had the backing of one true friend, Sally Spectra. Nate's proven many times that he sees Audra's good side and offered her the type of stability she never had while in that dysfunctional relationship with Tucker McCall. Victoria Newman is grieving the loss of Cole Howard, as is her daughter Claire. It's easy to project Victoria and Nate's friendship and shared respect developing into something more shortly. Claire reclaimed the life that her evil great-aunt, Jordan Howard, stole from her. She thought she had realized a first love with Kyle that was leading to a long-term relationship, eventual marriage, and children. But Claire's inexperience with romance caused her to be unrealistic. Ironically, her grandfather's suspicions will be proven partially true. Kyle never sought to betray Claire, but it's going to appear that way, which implies a rebound to Holden Novak. Damian Kane's death shocked Holden when he learned about it through Lily Winters, so he finds himself grieving a friend's loss, though he considered their friendship over by the time Damian died. Holden was tasked by Kane to ingratiate himself with the GC players. But Kane's decided to abandon his grand plan, and Holden is developing feelings for Claire. So they project as a future pairing. Joshua Morrow reveals Nick's deep love for Phyllis. It looks like Sharon and Nick are about to hit another roadblock on The Young and the Restless, though this one is quite familiar. In a storyline preview for Soap Opera Digest, Joshua Morrow had an unwelcome update for Chic fans. I know the Sharon-Nick fans don't want to hear this, but Nick cares deeply about Phyllis. While that's not news, Considering Nick has been on and off again with Phyllis for decades, Morrow's words were a preface for the drama set to unfold now that Phyllis has declared war on every elite family in Genoa City. Nick is a protector and a family man. It's his natural instinct to intercede when he sees a loved one going in the wrong direction. However, Phyllis's partnership with Kane will put him at a crossroads. Kane supposedly is abandoning his plan to go after the businesses of his competitors, but Phyllis is full steam ahead on the idea. It's a goal that will put her in direct odds with Nick. He won't sit back and let anyone mess with the Newmans, not even Phyllis. But that doesn't mean he won't be conflicted. Morrow shared, Nikki knows that sometimes she is her own worst enemy. He knows that sometimes she doesn't make the best choices when it comes to her future and her life. His character's love for Phyllis is going to keep him from fully writing her off. However, Morrow has suggested that Nick may be pushed to go further than he'd like, battling his ex. Because I wonder myself, Morrow said. How far is Nick willing to go to protect the family if Phyllis proves to be a full-blown enemy? What does that look like for Nick? Beyond stating, Nick is always going to love Phyllis. They share a child together. They share a very rich history, and that's never going away. Morrow didn't elaborate on how Nick's battle with Phyllis will affect Sharon. However, the fact that the actor felt the need to directly mention what Schick fans don't want to hear could be cause for concern. If Nick is busy trying to protect his family and figure out a way to protect Phyllis too, despite her plotting against the Newmans, that doesn't leave him with much room to pursue Sharon. Not in the way fans are hoping for. We warned viewers about this possibility after their almost kiss. Getting wrapped up in the Newman family drama, especially when Phyllis is involved, is likely not going to be something Sharon wants to entertain. When the Newmans pursue a threat, it's messy, and it often blows back into their personal lives. Sharon may not be up for another whirl around the merry-go-round or competing for Nick's attention, which could mean, once again, a Schick reunion has been foiled. Turns out that Audra was the most honest of the two. Claire found out the truth. It turns out that Audra was the honest one, after all. Kyle confessed to everything that went down in Nice. Was Audra actually looking out for Claire's relationship on The Young and the Restless? Does this officially make her a girl's girl? Claire needed to hear the truth from Kyle. Audra's accusations drove her crazy. She informed Kyle that she told Nate the truth about Audra at Society. Yet, Claire still had doubts. On the Thursday, August 28th episode, Claire asked Kyle if there was something he wasn't telling her about his time in Nice with Audra. He said that he had no feelings for Audra. However, he was dodging Claire's question. What went down in Nice? Kyle admitted they kissed in his sleeping car while in Nice. However, he left out the part where they were on his bed, and he was just wearing a towel. Kyle admitted that he had to go with it to trap Audra in her scheme. Claire broke down in tears and told Kyle that he had lied to her. He was supposed to tell her everything that happened, and he didn't. In a shocking twist, Claire realized that Audra was more honest with her than her own boyfriend, who turned out to be the liar. Does this mean that Audra was secretly looking out for Claire, especially since her plan didn't go the way she anticipated? In a strange way, this kind of makes her a girl's girl, even if she was trying to steal her man. She did tell Claire that she was trying to warn her about Kyle. Maybe she has nothing against Claire. It's possible that Audra was only focused on taking Kyle down a notch. She wanted the Nepo baby to lose his prized possession, his girlfriend. She looked out for Claire's best interests, even though they clearly don't get along. Now, Claire has no idea what to do with the Hughes information. Kyle is her first boyfriend, and she's never been in this situation before. Meanwhile, Kyle is planning to propose. But will this plan blow up in his face? What will Claire do now? Will she choose Kyle or herself? In the August 28th episode of The Young and the Restless, Kyle confessed to Claire about a kiss with Audra, claiming it was part of a strategy. His failure to be fully honest left Claire feeling betrayed and uncertain about their relationship. In a misguided attempt to rebuild trust, Kyle announced his intention to propose, risking further damage instead of healing their bond. In the August 28th episode of The Young and the Restless, Kyle finally confessed to Claire that his attempt to trap Audra in Nice included a kiss. Though he insisted it was meaningless, his failure to be honest until pressed left Claire shaken and questioning whether she could rely on him at all. In the aftermath, Kyle made the rash decision that marriage might be the only way to repair the damage, a gamble that risks compounding the very issue that broke Claire's trust in the first place. When Claire demanded to know whether he had told her everything, Kyle reluctantly admitted that Audra kissed him in France. He claimed his motives were pure, saying the kiss was part of his strategy to expose Audra's schemes, but Claire was struck by the dishonesty. To her, the omission was as painful as the act itself. Already coping with the grief of losing her father, Claire walked away feeling blindsided by a man she believed was steady and safe. Claire's mistrust doesn't come from nowhere. After years of manipulation under Jordan's control, secrecy and deception are triggers she cannot easily overlook. Kyle's choice to withhold the truth placed their relationship on unstable ground, despite his pleas that his love for her has never wavered. Victoria and Nikki reminded Claire that relationships can survive mistakes, but for someone still healing, Kyle's dishonesty cut deep. The fracture exposed how fragile their bond is when tested. Rather than give Claire space, Kyle decided he needed to act boldly to prove his devotion. He stunned Jack and Diane by announcing he planned to propose, convinced that marriage would erase her doubts.